If I have seen where they are digging gold and I managed to dig gold once, I will dig the gold until the gold finish. So 2018, I was basically living the life. Right? At a point in 2018, I was making 30,000 every day.
Wow.
Every
With
day,
that same.
Oh, this was it. I found a different way. So there was a different body where you post content every day and you get upvoted. So I was making so much money at that point because I did not have financial literacy. I like saying this. I was just spending the money anyhow. At a point in March 2018, I wanted to eat chicken and chips. I traveled with my friends from Benin to Warri. Went to ShopRite to chicken and chips. Came back the same day.
You're balling.
I was balling, and I was just wasting the money. Around June, May, the platform, the body where I was posting that article and getting that money from, the way on the dry out. So I was thinking, how do I make money?
Hi everyone, welcome to the Tech Talk, your ultimate destination for anything that has to do with tech. Today we have a special guest with us, and he is a senior product designer. He is also an expert in creating seamless user experience, and he is a visionary in his field. I would like to welcome Druids.
Hello, Ada. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming, Druids. I would like to tell you that this is our first podcast and you are our first guest.
Thank you.
Okay.
I feel very honored.
Oh, thank you very much, Druids. So my first question for you is, how did you get into tech?
Oh, that's a very interesting story. So I got into tech in 2017, November. So we had this mid-semester break when I was in school. Since I was staying home idle, I wanted to do something. So I contacted a friend. I went to Mission Road, which was basically a computer village in Benin. Started repairing PCs, installing software, basically doing software and hardware engineering, like you would call it. Then around November-ish, close to the end of November, a friend from school came to the shop to fix his PC. And he was telling me about one platform where you just post content and you get paid for it. The platform name was Steemit, and it was on the blockchain. But it sounded like magic to me because at that point, MMM was very rampant, right? There were a lot of Ponzi schemes going on. And it did not make sense to me that I just post content and I get paid for it. Then fast forward to December, I go back to school. All my close friends were doing Steemit. One wrote an article on how to change the light bulb. He got paid 250K. Another one posted content on photography. We were just cashing out. And in my mind, they don't have two heads. If they can do it, I can do it. So I basically just started asking them for tips. How do I write this article? What tags should I use when I'm posting these articles? What time do I post this article? Then they told me you have to do an intro post where you come on the platform and introduce yourself. So I wrote an article on that and I got paid 16,000 naira.
Wow.
At that time, that was the most money I've made in my life by myself, without anybody dashing me money.
Okay.
So, but I wanted to hit the big money they hit, right? Which was 250,000, which was like the benchmark for me.
50,000 naira.
250.
250.
Yeah. So what I did was I wrote an article on how to change your laptop motherboard, did a video, and I posted the right tagged the right people, and I got what we call upvote, which is like likes on Twitter. But when you get upvoted by certain people, there's a dollar value attached to that like. So I got upvoted by a body called Curie, and the money I got from that was almost 250-300K.
Wow.
And at that point, if I have seen where they are digging gold and I managed to dig gold once, I will dig the gold until the gold finish. So what happened was, so 2018, I was basically living the life. Right? At a point in 2018, I was making 30,000 every day.
Wow. With that same.
Oh, this was it. I found a different way. So there was a different body where you post content every day and you get upvoted.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing that for like 5 months, right? So I was making so much money at that point because I did not have financial literacy. I like saying this. I was just spending the money anyhow. At a point in March 2018, I wanted to eat chicken and chips. I traveled with my friends from Benin to Warri. Went to ShopRite to chicken and chips. Came back the same day.
You're balling.
I was balling, and I was just wasting the money. So around June, May, the platform, the body where I was posting that article and getting that money from, the way on the dry out. So I was thinking, how do I make money? Then found another body again that was giving that money.
Where was I when this was happening?
But this time you have to give a sort of value, right? Either by designing or by making video or by hosting in real life events, and I could not do any of those.
Okay.
So I picked up design using PixArt.
Pixel art.
Yeah, PixArt, the
Okay.
app on Android, right? I did not have a very good PC at that point. So I was doing designs using PixArt. And my first design, I think there was like a raffle for designs that was posted. I won, I think, 100K. Then I did one and I got paid 1.1 million naira. My first million. This was in June 2018. And in my mind, I'm a millionaire now. And I don't want to lose this because they always say getting your first million is not the hardest thing. Keeping it. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was so true for me because I said, I don't want to lose this money. So what do I do with it? Then I found a bank on Steemit where you basically just give them your money, you deposit it there, and they pay you interest every month. This is when I started becoming wait.
You learned from your past mistakes.
You will see what happened. I'm making another mistake as I'm talking to you now. So I deposited the 1 million. I was being paid 20% every month. Right now, if I tell the mayor, we'll get to that. So I was being paid 20%, which was 200,000 naira. So they paid me my first 20% in July. Okay, I deposited the money in June. I was paid my first 20% in July, 200K. I did not know that 200K is more money that isn't to pay me. We'll get to that. So August, payment was taking a while. They sent me half, told me that there was some hold up somewhere. They invested in a farm, this and that. September, story. October, story. November. Then November, I got added to a group of everybody they are owing. And I realized that my 1 million are
Jesus. How do you make that and then lose it?
So that was where I discovered that anything that seems too good to be true, it probably is.
It's too good to be true.
Now, if you come to me and you're offering me 20% annually, it feels like a scam. 10%.
It was a lot.
10% I might be okay.
I understand 2%.
10%. I'm talking yearly. I might be okay. If you offer me 20% yearly, my red flags are going off because of what has happened.
Yeah.
So after that, I started thinking, how do I add? Because I saw that just by creating these designs and adding value to that community, I got that 1 million, I got that 100K, I still got some money from it. So how do I add more value and make more money? So towards the end of 2018, because I was interning at the time at Chevron in Warri, right? I was doing my bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering. So I was interning in Chevron. So I started thinking, how do I add value first to my workplace?
Yeah.
I started taking courses, started learning how to use Microsoft Excel, did a course on advanced Microsoft Excel, learned how to use VBA, took a course on Lean Six Sigma, which is basically just optimizing the company processes to remove waste, save money and all that. Then I assigned a project to myself on how to improve on how we assign work orders to different staffs at Chevron.
Yeah.
I did that in 2019. Today, that's what it is at Chevron Warri. Did that in 2019. And at that point, everything I was thinking about was how do I add value? How do I add value? My boss always tell me, get as much skill as you can while you're here, because just your degree will not help you stand out while you live here. Everybody will have a degree, right? What's going to make you stand out from the crowd? So 2019, I discovered Figma, started designing interfaces. I was just learning randomly, right? We'll probably discuss it during the course of our conversation, but I was just learning randomly. Went to YouTube, I watched a video on how to mask, watch a video on how to use this. It was not structured because I now discovered that I probably haven't used masking as much as I should have, because masking is not something you use when you are designing products very much, right? So I just learned very in a very scattered way. Then in April, what I like doing is I like validating a skill set before I learn a new thing. So that way, that principle, it keeps me on track. So I don't learn everything, because usually when you start designing, you get caught in this cycle of learning. You are just learning and learning and learning and learning. You're not making money from it. 2 years, you are still learning. You're not making money from it. You're not practicing.
Yeah.
So I started designing, posting my designs on WhatsApp. Then I started posting my designs around February, March. I started in January. February, March, I started posting my designs on WhatsApp. Then around April, a friend texted me that there's one of his boss that's trying to start a downstream oil company. He needs a website. He needs someone to design and build a website. I did not know how to build websites. All right. This is one of my spare parts. I did not know how to build website. I said, man, I feel run them. So yeah, they come Warri. So immediately told me, I got on a bus to Warri. Inside that bus, I was on YouTube, right, learning how to build WordPress, how to build websites with WordPress. And I got there, they put us in one hotel. We did the design, we did the website in one night, right? Next day I'm back to Benin,
Wow.
right? And for some reason, because of how fast I delivered, the man thought I was a tech guru. I was very good at what I do. Then a month later, he called me that he wants to set up a data center. He wants to consult me. He has booked a flight for me from Benin to Lagos, first time entering flight from Benin to Lagos. I should be my way to the airport. Mind you, I was in class. Right? I had a class, I think reservoir engineering. I had a class. I had this very long extension I carry because there's no light in the hostel. So you need to have that very extension, that very long wire that can go from here downstairs. So I had that extension in my bag. I was just charging my piece when I got the call. I pack everything.
You
from my
just
bag.
take
He said, don't worry, we'll shop when we get to Lagos. I just went to the airport. When I got there, they were checking my bag. If I brought out the extension, they say you cannot travel with this. From my
And
bag.
that's the only thing you carry.
That's the only thing I carried. And just my laptop and my phone. So when I got to Lagos, we went to HP, went to Oracle, went to Microsoft. They just inquiring on what we need to. Same thing. I do not know how to be the data center, right? But I had a senior colleague, and I was just watching YouTube on what need to be the data center, right? At least the basic one.
Yeah.
So we had that conversation. I was in Lagos for like a month, right? My hotel bill was getting close to $1 million because they were both housing me and feeding me. Then after that conversation, flew me back to Benin. Now I'm seeing the result of all my efforts, right? Just designing and build the website has been getting me results. Then around sometime in 2019 still, one of the consultants from HP, because what I like that my boss was anybody in meet, because the person I was working for was a senator at the time, right? Anybody in meet, he will tell you, not the senator, the person working for the senator, anybody in meet, he will tell you that, see that our website, now this young guy Ronamo,
He gives you the recognition.
very well. Even in front of the senator, he's always giving it to you.
That's good.
So when I go back to school, the HP consultant took my number, he messaged me that he wanted the website. And at that point, my designs were averagely good, right? This was 2019, so averagely good.
Out.
So he asked me how much. I think I gave him 600K. He did not price it. And if you don't price, I feel cheated. This is where I started learning pricing. So 600K, I designed the website and I built it. So before coming back from my internship, I was staying off campus, right? But I knew I needed to lock in. I didn't know it was called locking in at the time. I knew I needed to lock in that period, right? I needed to be focused and I didn't want to get distracted. So I moved back to school hostel. And for some reason, one of my roommates thought I was doing fraud.
Because of the money.
I was always pressing my laptop.
Yeah.
I don't go out to buy food. I'm always ordering chicken and chips to the room, enjoying I'm just always on my bed working. So he thought I was doing fraud. Then he asked what I was doing. I taught him. I think right now he's a data scientist.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So basically that's how I got into tech, right? From 2017 to 2019, I was just grinding, doing things I think could make me money and make me a more valuable person.
Oh, that's very, very awesome. That's awesome. So what would you say was the defining moments that led you to this current stage that you're in?
Oh, defining moments. I knew I liked money. First thing,
Fair.
I knew I did not want to work at the office. Working at Chevron was fun, but having to wake up, commute to the office every day, stay in the office, and half of the time, I'm usually not very productive because most of my work gets done before 2 p.m. But I still have to stay to 4 p.m. if I leave the office.
Yeah.
I just knew that life wasn't for me. And my boss kept hammering on, you have to learn skills for you to be valuable. You have to be able to give value to society for you to make money. And after I think 2019 was the deciding moment, right? Because after touching that 600K, I knew that if I can touch 600K, I can touch 1 million. If I can touch 1 million, I can touch 5 million. Right.
You can touch 5 million.
I can touch 10 million.
I can start my own company.
So you see, no, and then I tried building a company twice. It did not work. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Right. So I just saw that I could make money just doing the things I like, right? Because I actually like designing. I like things I do that I get instant gratification from. I'm drawing a rectangle, I'm putting color inside, I'm seeing that the color is red, which is why I don't like writing code. So it's very visual for me. It's something that even if you're not paying me money to do, I would still be doing it. So yeah, I think 2019 was the defining moment.
Okay, so to touch on the you said you like to be visual with it, right? So can you talk about no-code tools and the impact it has on design?
Oh yeah, I think no-code tools are very interesting. If I were to speak on impact, I think it's going to bet more builders. So right now you're both designing and you're both doing no-code. And when you start doing that, at this point, there's no more time for research. You start making a lot of assumptions when you are building your product, right? So at least, even if you are doing no code, it should not be your primary responsibility. There should always be a front-end engineer on it.
What would you say is the best no code tool to use when building a website?
Oh, I would say Framer. I used Webflow in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at Komodo, a company in Abuja here.
Yeah.
Right. So I used Webflow back then. But recently we needed to build our landing page in 3 days. Right. We contracted to an agency, they were taking too long, and we needed to launch the following week. So my boss wanted me to hop on it. My front-end engineer had a lot of his plates on his plate, so I needed to work on that. Right. And a friend just said you can use Figma to do this. You know how to use auto layout in Figma. Learning how to use Figma should not be very difficult. And apparently it wasn't. I started building the website on Friday. On Sunday we've launched it.
Wow,
Yes, and I did not know how to use Figma prior to that.
that's cool.
Yeah, I just watched like two long
Videos.
tutorials on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually very very cool.
Yeah.
So how do you balance business goals and user needs in design?
Usually user needs are tied to business goals. So if you work for a Nigerian company, I'm about to shade the Nigerian founders. You notice that most designs are, Leslie will say, they are orga led, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what problem the user is having. It doesn't matter what the user wants or need. All that matters is what your orga wants, right? So it's what they call orga led design. Your boss is going to be the one to dictate what feature your app is going to have,
Yeah.
right? And usually that's not how product should be built.
Fair.
That's not how product should be built. So for a product to solve business needs, it has to work. It has to solve a problem, right? And usually your business needs are tied to your user problems, because only if you are solving a problem for me, I'll come to your business and say, take my money to solve that problem for me. So you always want to make sure that your business needs are always tied to your user needs, which is why when you're a product designer or you're a lead designer, there's this thing we do. We have this stakeholder jam. There's an official name for it. I can't remember the official name, but we have this stakeholder jam where we have stakeholders on a call, right? Just to make sure everybody's aligned on what the business needs are, what the user problems are, and how we can tie those together. So we have that call. We ask you, who are your competitors? What problem are you trying to solve? What does impact look like, right? If you go to market, what metrics do you want us to track? What goals do you want us to hit? So in the course of the conversation, you'll be able to tie, okay, if we solve this problem for this user, right, it will help us get this X amount of engagement, right? If you have engagement of 60% and 10% are paying, it will help us get maybe 100K USD in revenue, right? But basically, you need to know how to speak business when you're talking to stakeholders.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why, what's his name? Leo on Twitter, we always say, you should always learn the business of design.
Also, there's a business of design. Is
Yes.
there like
There's
a
a book.
course that people
Yeah,
take
there's a book by InVision.
in Vision?
Yeah, so if you just search InVision Business of Design, you'll see it's a PDF, it's a free PDF.
It's a free PDF.
Yeah, it's a very insightful PDF. I read it in 2020 and it has been very helpful when I'm speaking with founders and stakeholders in the project.
Okay. Do you think the market for developers will be at stake? And how compulsory is it for designers to learn no-code tools?
Well, I don't think the market for developers will be at stake. If anything, I would say AI, right, would probably be the major threat to front-end developers. I don't think no-code tools.
Why is that?
Why is that? Oh yeah, because right now anybody that knows how to write very good prompt has just a very basic understanding of how to write code, can literally build anything. Right? It may take you a longer time because you probably have to learn how to write good prompts for Claude.
Yeah.
Right? You learn how to use Cursor, and probably learn how to use VO. But I think right now anybody can be a builder, like I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
I don't think it's no code is affecting their work as much. Probably some designers will take some landing page gig from them, right? But every company would always need a front end engineer.
Yeah.
You might even see companies having 5, 7, 6, 8 front end engineers, right? Then I don't think it's compulsory designers have to learn no code, right? I've been doing it off and on, right? It's not compulsory, but something I'll always say is, if you are in the job market,
Yeah.
you want to be a unique person.
Fair.
Right.
Yeah.
There's this concept of, if you watch anime, there's this concept of unique skill, which is something that's unique to only you. And for you to be a unique person is something that's interesting, that has a lot of value to offer. For you to be a unique person, you have to learn a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
They will say there are not two persons that are the same. So if you're a product designer that knows how to do no code, you know how to use AI to build apps, right? you're probably more valuable to an organization than somebody that's just a product designer, right? Or if you're a product designer that knows how to do very good product designs, and you also know how to build no-code websites with Framer Webflow or whatever, right? You probably be more valuable to the organization than somebody who's just a product designer, right? It gives you leverage in the job market and makes you a more valuable person or a more unique person.
That's good. That's good. So speaking of AI, how has the role of UI UX evolved in the advancements with AI?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. So, 2022, I think I have a unique skill, all right? And this skill is basically predicting where the job market is going to be in the next year.
Okay.
So in 2022, around March, April, May, I discovered something called conversational design.
Sorry, what's that?
It's basically designing for artificial intelligence, machine learning.
Sorry,
right?
designing for artificial intelligence,
designing for voice apps, right? How you speak to Alexa, how Alexa responds to you, how Alexa takes the previous thing you said to follow up on a conversation, right? That's conversational design. So you think of it like the way we write script for a movie. If I ask you, how are you? You say, I'm fine. Then you follow up the question, right? That's basically how conversational design
people
works.
learn this skill?
Oh, yes. I have a book for it in my library. Google has resources for learning it, right?
Okay.
If you just say conversational design, Google, right? You see something. Because I think Google was building a voice interface for driving, right? And they used conversational design to design that product. I don't think the product itself is still in existence, but that resource is still there. So if somebody has asked me, what's the best way for me to move with the AI trend and learn how to design for AI? Because just designing the interface is not enough. You have to design the experience, right? If I'm chatting with your AI or AI is talking to me, right? How does tone taking work? How does he predict what I'm going to do next? How does he know what I'm asking him? Even if I say, Claude, what is the time today? And I don't spare time, I don't spare today correctly, right? Claude still knows what I'm talking about. So when you learn how to design conversational UX, right, you know how to design better AI products.
So what field would this be under?
Oh, it will still be under UX. Because product designer is basically somebody that knows how to do UI very well, knows how to do UX very well.
Yeah.
Come
so
together.
It's still under UX.
Yes, it's still under UX.
Okay,
And
that is.
you may also need to learn how to do UX writing. Now, it's not compulsory, but again, Google has a course on it. So UX writing, Google, you see the resource there. It's probably one of the first resources you see. They have a course on UX writing. Because in the course of conversational design, there's something called, let's just call it script writing, right? Like you're scripting out how the conversation between the user and your AI is going to look like.
Okay.
So in the course of writing that, how your AI responds to people, how they respond when they are asking illegal questions, right? How they respond people are asking self-harm questions about suicide and all that, right? How do you respond to that to make sure people don't actually kill themselves, right?
Yeah.
You also need to know how to write good UX copies.
Okay.
So if you know how to do UX writing, you know how to conversational design, you design very, very sweet AI products.
Wow. People always tend to think that UI UX is just a small part of tech. People don't actually read UI UX, They actually think that you should be a front-end developer than they call it just designing boxes.
Well, I think the people that are into the tech themselves, right, they know how valuable being a designer is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's people that are outside the club, they're the ones only hitting on us that it's not just drawing rectangles in Figma. So I understand where they are coming from. They lack education, right?
Yes.
Or they lack design education. Right? They don't know the impact of our work, which is why it's our job as designer to have those very impactful conversations on socials.
Yeah.
When we come on Twitter, you see people usually asking between A and B, which one do you prefer? No shade to them, right? Or I just drew this, or I just designed this, but there's no big conversation around the impact of the work we are doing.
Yeah.
You did this, it went live. Let's say I designed the feature, right? It went live, right? It helped my company probably get 50K USD in additional revenue, right? Now that's output. But what's the impact? So we need to know how to have conversations around impact. And if you want to know how to talk about impact, one book you'd want to read is Articulating Design Decisions. Or if you are a very lazy reader like me, you probably just reading blog articles. Intercom has a very good design series. So if you go to Google and type Intercom, how to have impact as a designer, you see a very sweet article there. It's about 5 pages. I even had to print it out just to be reading. I read it like 4 or 5 times, but I just have a printed copy on my desk just to read.
Okay, so it's not just about going to learn. You have to also read and refresh your memory and follow
Yes,
up and all.
and speaking on learning, I think we'll probably get to this during the course of our conversation, right? But I think design education is broken in Nigeria. And I can't speak globally because you realize that when you are done paying for this your boot camp, you know how to design UI, you probably know how to design UX, and you don't even teach you how to design UX. You know how to design UI, you probably know how to design UX, and you stand without looking for work.
Mhm.
You do not know how to look for work because we are not taught how to survive in the job market.
Yeah.
You don't know how to write a very good resume. You don't know how to have a very good portfolio, and you don't know how to create projects for yourself. But if you are just coming from a design bootcamp into the road and you're looking for a job, you're like 1,000 people that just did that. What's going to make you stand out? Because no company, this is also a very big problem. Nobody company wants to give you work if you don't have experience. But if they don't give you work, how are you going to get experience? When you're stuck in that cycle of you don't have experience to get work, right? They don't want to hire you because you don't have experience. But if they don't hire you, how are you going to get the experience? So what I did for myself when I started out is I had pet projects. So I can just see a problem I think is interesting.
Mhm.
And for you to do great work, you have to find the problem you are solving very interesting. Because when something is very interesting to you, you're obsessed about it.
Yeah.
And because you're obsessed about it, you have domain knowledge about that problem more than every other person in the world.
Yeah.
If the only problem I want to solve, right, is probably cross-chain transaction in blockchain, and that's all I've been obsessing about for the last 3 years, there's probably nobody in the world that knows that subject matter or that domain as much as I do, because it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because for you to be thinking of solving a problem and you've been on it for 3 years, it has to be interesting.
It has to be very interesting.
Yeah, so you look for interesting problems. It doesn't have to be something very complicated.
Yeah.
It can be there are too many plastics in your gutter or around your area which is causing plastic pollution.
Mhm.
How do you solve that? And as a young designer, an entry-level designer, not every problem requires an interface or a UI design.
So what do you do? Just case study.
It's a very big trap because when you want to start working with a company and they give you a problem to solve, your first instinct is to jump into Figma and start designing UI.
Yeah.
And there's this book called Solving Problem Design Exercises. I'm calling out of books today. Thank God I've been reading. Solving Problem Design Exercises. What that book does, it teaches you how to approach problems, right? Because in the course of approaching problems, understanding why you are bidding, who you are bidding it for, and what problem you're trying to solve, there's this thing we do when we are trying to propose solution. Because you don't just design a solution, you have to propose it. Usually, a problem can have 3 solutions or 3 possible solutions. One may not even require an interface. Imagine the thing I did for Chevron in 2018, right? Trying to make our work order better, and I said I want to design app for Chevron to use. Doesn't make sense. Actually, in that context. So what you can do is you can profile solutions. Then we have this thing called an impact effort matrix. It's basically like a graph, right? So you did we draw graphs in school. You have the y-axis, you have the x-axis. So you can put impact on the y-axis, put effort on the x-axis. Then you take your 3 solutions and say, which is going to have the most impact on the user? It's going to solve this problem for them, and it's going to require the least effort from the business, right, to implement that solution.
Yeah.
That's always what you want to optimize for, right? If it ends up being an app you have to design, so be it, right? But if an app will always be high impact, probably high effort, because you have to design the app. Developers have to come in. Backend developers have to start doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Then product managers have to come in. Marketers have to promote the app for people to use it. That is high effort. But if just optimizing a process, right? Probably having a garbage can where people deposit and they get points, they can redeem that points for other things, right? That is also high impact, right? And probably medium effort.
Yeah.
Because you have to hire people to watch the can, just carry the can and take it to wherever they're taking it to, right? So you always want to optimize for high impact, low effort. But you do not want high impact, high effort, unless the impact, well, is very high.
Okay, that's actually very good and very insightful.
Thank you.
So if you weren't a UI UX designer, what tech related role do you think you would be in?
Oh, I'll be a finance person. Yeah. I've always liked money. I've always liked numbers. Yeah, I like saying I like money. Right? I'm
You've
not
said it
ashamed of
before.
Yeah.
You like money.
And I like numbers. Right, maths was my favorite subject in school. Right, up to 400 level, I was still very good at maths before I lost my way. Yeah, that's when I discovered money. Yeah, I was still very good at maths. I've always been obsessed about numbers, and like last year, I started trying to pursue my finance journey.
Yeah.
I reached out to somebody on Twitter who recommended books I have to read, because for you to be a finance person, you have to know maths, linear algebra. You need to know how to use Python for data analysis.
Python?
Yeah, data analysis.
Okay. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
there are a lot of books he gave to me to read. I'm still stuck on linear algebra. I thought I knew linear algebra in school, but in reality, I did not know linear algebra. I memorized my way through linear algebra. So now I actually have to understand linear algebra. I have to understand probability.
Yeah.
Then I have to
statistics.
statistics. Then I have to learn Python, because these are like the basics. Because I want to get into a school called World Financial University or Finance University. They basically teach you how to be a quantitative analyst or how to be a finance person. And the entrance exam or the entrance questions will ask you is around linear algebra, statistics, probability, then Python.
So, are you still going to go into that?
Oh yes, I don't see myself doing. I can't be 35 and still be designing.
I'm sorry. What? Yes. What's wrong with being 35
no,
and designing?
I don't see myself here for that long.
How long have you been in this field?
5, 6 years ish, 7 years ish. If I can't even 2017, it's 7 years, but I started officially in 2019.
Yeah.
So it's like 5 years.
So what's wrong? Why do you want to switch roles? Do you think
Oh no, I might still be designing, right? Probably not for money.
Just as a hobby.
Yeah, it might be a hobby.
But someone once told me that you should monetize your hobbies.
I think that's the problem with Nigeria, right? Because of the way the economy is, you're always looking for money to solve problems. Right? When you're in a saner climate, you don't really have to monetize your hobbies, which is why they are hobbies. Right? Yeah. I love mixing cocktails. I am a body mixologist, as my wife would say. All right, I love mixing cocktails, but you won't find me saying I want to mix cocktails to start selling at a bar. Open a bar to start making cocktails.
It's just for you and your friends.
Right? I just want to do it for fun.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yes.
So what's one project in your career that you are most proud of and why?
Oh yes. So give you context. 2022, I started a mentorship program called Druids Alpha, right? And at its peak, I was mentoring 380 people. So I was thinking, how do I make this more impactful to them? How do I make this more impactful to them?
Yeah.
So that when they lead this mentorship program, they have something to show. So we started a project called Ninja Design System. We noticed that the experience for public public apps in Nigeria is broken. Right? You don't find joy using any public app or website. Right? It doesn't solve a problem. If I go to an official website of any federal parastatal, I'm not even sure what's happening on the website. But if you look at countries like the USA, United Kingdom, Switzerland, I think even Australia, they have their official design system, which they use in building their apps. So if you leave the UK government website for let's say for labor, right, and you go to one for transportation, they probably look similar, right? And the experience is almost seamless. And it's solving a problem. You are going there to find information, you are seeing information, and you're getting value from the website. But for our products on our websites here, even the green we're using, if you look at CBN green, you look at the police green, you look at NINC green, right? All the greens are different. And because there's no standard for how we do these things, the experience is broken. And there's no value. I think they should not even waste money hosting those websites. They should just bring it down and do it again. So we took on that project to create an open source design system in 2022. And we called it Ninja Design System. It's actually live. So if you Google it, you see it there. We call it Ninja Design System. Here we created colors, created types and components for building accessible experiences for these websites.
Wow. You're doing God's work. Changing the designs. Because if you check most of the websites that we have, it needs help. It needs prayers and help.
They don't actually want help. It needs help, but they don't want help.
They would leave the old. I think these are websites they've made since 1990s, and they just don't care about
because there's too much policy involved, right? Because if you say you want to redesign a website, it's effort. You have to pay the designer, you have to pay the dev. Everybody wants to be lobbied.
Yeah.
Person A would have the contract for this thing. person A, person B that wants to do it,
Mhm.
person A will say, okay, lobby me, so I'll give you the contract. Let's say the contract is 20 million. He will lobby person B, maybe 10 million. They are very greedy.
Yeah, very greedy.
So now you are left with 10 million to do it.
Mhm.
Person B will say, instead of spending 10 million, since I've spent 10 million to lobby,
Yeah.
okay, let's 10 million. Okay, let's say 5 million. I spent 5 million to lobby. I'm left with 15 million. If I take out my 5 million from 15 million, I'm left with 10 million. Instead of spending 10 million, I'm not going to give it to my cousin that just learning graphic design in secondary school.
To do this big
To do
project.
it. After the cousin is done doing the graphic design, then you find one dev
Mhm.
and pay him probably 500,000 naira.
To now finish up